It is Sunday, February 26th, 2023. Let's start this show.
They counting this out. Just check the history, know that the system can't stop us. The paper they count came from the blood, sweat, and tears of our people. The pivot, scream greatness and shout. Hate our existence, but really, yet truly, we hold all the power, no route. Brace yourselves when we amount, cause we limitless. DNA royal, not menaces, know that we limitless. Brothers and sisters in arms, so the power be limitless. DNA royal, not menaces.
This show represents the opinions of the host and his guests. The content here should not be taken solely as medical advice. This show is for informational purposes only. Please consult your healthcare provider or professional for additional information and follow-up.
My skin and the joy make them 1% matter. That fact that the matter. Open your eyes when you look at the mirror and see what I see.
What is going on, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in for part 2 of Alignment. My name is Thomas Davis, and I'm honored to have you watch the show with some dynamic guests on tonight. They are not a stranger to move mountains and break barriers, so I appreciate you all in advance for what you all are about to experience and witness. Thank you so much again for tuning in on a Sunday, chilly evening here in the DMV. We know that this has been some crazy weather. We was at 80 degrees the other day. Then we had a few snowflakes on yesterday to end today, which is the weekend, chilly. But we are still here. We are still excited, and we are not going to allow the weather to keep us from being in alignment. Before we start the show, I would like for you to continue to do like you do always. Like and share this broadcast, tag a friend, share this with a friend. And if you are watching the rebroadcast, I thank you so much for being able to share with me on this evening. But look, let's do a quick housekeeping thing, a few little housekeeping things. Follow us on the following platforms. You can follow us on Instagram at LimitlessOutcomes. You can also follow us on YouTube, which is Limitless Possibilities LLC. You can also follow us on Facebook, which is Limitless Possibilities, and LinkedIn, which is Thomas Davis LPC. And for those who don't know what LPC is, Licensed Professional Counselor. Earn degree, earn license. Y'all. And if you want some motivational pick-me-ups, you can also text the word talk to 844-549-1369. Again, text the word talk, TALK, at 844-549-1369. We are doing a lot of great things here at Limitless Possibilities and all of our entities, and we are so glad to be able to give back to the community. But let us know that you are here tonight. Shout out to our guests who tuned in on last show. You guys were amazing. The comments were powerful, and we want to continue this discussion on this evening. So don't be afraid. Click the chat and let us know that you are here and streaming tonight. So one of the things that I wanted to do is that we had such a rich and powerful conversation on last time that we met in January. And it was so powerful. And we talked about alignment. We talked about why it's important for us to be in alignment. And we also shared some things that can be key for one to continue to not feel defeated or give up or give in. Mr. Wesley Johnson, thank you so much, sir, for tuning in from Bowie, Maryland, right down the street from me. What's up, brother? Thank you so much for watching. Hey, thank you so much. And so as we're talking about the show tonight, there were some things that I wanted to recap from last show that we did. There was something that Mr. John Rawlins stated, and we talked about this area of cohesion. Why is it important for us to be in cohesion? And he said things will always come together, and it is important for us to fulfill your purpose and your goals. Cohesion, it has to come together. Mr. Duane Edwards stated, it's all about actions that makes us whole. We must be intentional and have a purpose. Miss Tanika says how to manage and rate yourselves is important and always make those necessary adjustments. And John said it best, and I want to say it at the end. But Mr. Jason also stated supports are necessary, y'all. Informal and uninformal and formal supports. Those are all key, those are all necessary. But you're going to hear some more conversations tonight. And I want to start with a photo. As we talk about becoming in alignment, we got to know this, y'all. A better you is coming. If you believe that, put it in the chat that I believe a better me is coming. A better you is coming. You just got to stay the course, stay the course, stay the course. All right. I wanted to take the majority of tonight to let us bring on all of our panelists so we can continue the discussion. And one last thing before they all come on, I want to say this. To improve change, y'all, to improve change as we are thinking about being in alignment, there is something else that I want you to look at the screen that's about to pop up. I am committed to being a better person today than I was yesterday. Better thoughts, better decisions, better actions. Better thoughts, better decisions, better actions. Who thinks that is so key in the times that we are living in? We got to keep up with being the best that we can be. So without further ado, I want to bring on Tanika, Jason, John, and Duane.
Did they count on this out? Just check the history, know that the system can.
What's up, y'all?
Good evening.
Hey,
How y'all doing? How y'all doing?
Good. Can't complain.
How y'all doing on this chilly Sunday?
Wait,
Staying
chilly
warm.
where?
Oh,
It's not cold here today. It's not cold here right now. I will say it that way.
Yes, enjoy the West Coast. It's okay.
I am. But I say that like tomorrow's probably not going to dip back down into
Right.
the 50s. So
Right.
oh no, not the 50s.
Ooh, right. Ooh,
listen.
so cold. Miss Tanika, how are you doing, sweetheart?
I'm doing good, doing well.
Mr. Jason, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well.
All right. Duane, talk to me. How are you?
I'm good.
And to the brother that says that it's so cold with the 50 degrees,
I didn't
John,
say
how are you?
so cold. I'm always ice cold, but I'm wonderful. Wonderful.
Hey. There we go. So as we talked about alignment, y'all, what were some of the things, and I'm going to start with you, Tanika, that you took away from our part one show?
I think a lot of the definitions that we talked about, like what does it mean to be in alignment, and also really trying to figure out when you are in alignment. I think those were some of the key points from the first time that really helped me to think, even myself, where it helped me to think like after, like, that was a really good definition. How does that apply to what I'm doing right now?
Love it. Thank you so much. Talk to me, John.
I feel like, us talking about cohesion was big for me, and really thinking about all the things that we do really do kind of guide us on this journey. And I think sometimes it's easy to think that, well, this wasn't a great part of my journey, let me throw this out, or let me not remember this. But literally everything that you do is a part of your story. And I think it also helps align us to who we're supposed to be and what we're supposed to be doing. And no time is ever wasted. So I think that was a big takeaway for me.
Love that. Thank you so much. Jason, talk to me, sir.
I think alignment is just natural for us. Having that conversation in the first month of the year makes all the sense in the world because we're literally flipping the calendar over
Mhm.
and looking to kind of get off on the right foot. And alignment to me just is about having some perspective of where you are in the moment and where you're going to. So just a bit of a self read and making sure that your compass is aligned in the right direction. And I think we
Mhm.
got a lot of that in last session.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And Duane, talk to us, brother.
I think it was more so about reflecting so you can have your motivation and your focus as you're moving forward.
Right.
That's pretty much it.
I like that. I like that. Motivation, self examinations, refocusing, restructuring, repositioning, realigning ourselves. Those are all great points. And I think for me, my biggest takeaway is that as we talked about the car, as I gave the analogy on, in order for our car to run the way that it's supposed to run and we don't eat up tires, the car has to be in position. Everything has to balance itself. Everything has to be able to flow evenly. And if we put that much energy and time and effort in keeping our vehicles tuned up and in a line, then why do we not tune ourselves up and realign ourselves when we get out of line?
Mhm.
And so as we talk this evening, I want us to have a really organic conversation around just where we are in life, understanding that on Wednesday, y'all, can you believe we're gonna be in March?
I'm
Wednesday.
grateful. Yes.
On Wednesday.
Whether you're ready for it or not, it's
Let's go.
coming. And we dealt with so much in the month of February. We celebrated Heart Health Month. We celebrated Black History Month. We celebrated the National Love Day. And there were a few individuals that reached out to me during these particular celebratory events, and they were just sharing with me how you guys blessed them by keeping themselves in line during Valentine's Day. Because a lot of people have experienced loss, a lot of people have gone through different things, and just being able to understand the importance of having, Jason, those formal and informal supports, those other things that we talked about, Duane, by making sure that our thoughts are in conjunction with our actions. Those things are very key and are very important. But I wanted to start off the initial dialogue tonight by just discussing something that I feel like sometimes life presents us with these particular challenges. So, you know how we grow up and we are in life and we experience transitions and we experience change and we want to be better. We want to do the right thing,
Mhm.
but we sometimes are connected or somebody tries to bring us down and try to rip us to shreds because they don't want to see you accomplish. They don't want to see you they don't want to see the fact that I am Thomas in 2023 and I'm not the same Thomas as in 1997 when I walked across the stage and obtained my high school diploma. I've changed. And sometimes when you try to go out here in life and you try to do things right, you get knocked down. How do we begin to build ourselves up by trying to position ourselves to stay in line, to keep that motivation, to keep our perspective? How do we deal with things like that? And I'm going to start off with the young lady because I was raised right. Miss Tanika, talk to us about how do you face head on foes?
Man, as you were talking, I think in visuals. And so as you were describing that, all I kept thinking about was shifting.
Mm,
Whenever you're in alignment, there's always going to be a need where you're going to have to increase or to do better. And do better is an incline.
right,
Now, when you're on an incline in anything, whether you're in a car and a bike, you're going to have to shift your gear
right,
in order for you to stay on the incline. Also means it's going to require some work. You can shift your gear, but you're not going to be, you got to put some effort in that, right? There's got to be some push and some tug. There's going
right.
to be some hardship. All of those things are going to happen. And I feel like that's not really talked about with alignment. We think of
Mhm,
alignment as just coasting.
right.
like it's going to be an easy coast. But whenever you're trying to do better or to get to a higher point, you're going to have to shift some things. That means mindset. That means personality. That means responsibility. That means the people around you. And some of the things that we might not be equipped to deal with because we're so focused on the mission that we don't focus on the social aspect of it, which could be
Yes.
friends and family and hurt feelings, or just like self doubt. All of those things will come with and will be in the process of alignment. So I encourage everyone to not be hard on themselves.
Right.
First, that's the first thing. It is a normal thing to feel like I am out of the loop on this.
Right.
But it also is a great sign that you're in alignment or you're on an increase to doing something different.
Right. Right. I love that. John, I'm gonna come to you, but before I come to you, I wanted to stay where she is. She mentioned something that some of us, sometimes self-included, have challenges doing, and that's shifting.
Mm-hmm.
And that shift doesn't always mean moving.
Right.
You gotta alter, you gotta reposition, you gotta rethink, you gotta relearn, you gotta reteach. Some of the things that we do in our therapy sessions is that we reteach unwanted behaviors so they can unlearn those things.
Mm-hmm.
And when we talk about shift, and I love how you started that off, because it's important for someone that's watching to be okay with being uncomfortable. Because when you shift to new things, it's nervous, it's nerve-wracking, it is anxiety-provoking, but you still gotta shift.
Mm-hmm.
So John, just add on to that, sir.
Well, I mean, the shifting is important because when you're trying to go to a new level into a new place,
right,
you can't do the same thing in the same gear that you were doing it in before, right? So I'll talk about it in terms of, like, I tell my students all the time when they're coming in. I work at a university, right? So I have students who were at the top of their class in high school.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of, in some ways, let's use your word, Tanika, they coasted, right? Through high school, tests were easy, papers were easy, they could do everything last minute. But when you get here, you have to think of a different way to do things. Because this is a new environment, and the old directions don't work in the new environment. The old way of doing things don't work in the new environment. So I think that's where it can be helpful in our mindset to shift, because some of the things that we used to do and the way that we're used to doing things will not actually be helpful or prudent to us in the new spaces that we're in. And the only way that we'll find that success is if we actually shift, if we move to the next thing, or we come into another gear, right? In terms of, all right, so I may have done it this way before, but now it's time for me to do it this way. And part of that, doing it a new way, is going to be being uncomfortable, like you just mentioned, right? Because it's not going to feel so easy. It's not going to feel second nature at first,
right?
But trust, when you get to the place where you're like, okay, I'm enjoying what I'm doing, or I'm feeling this confidence kind of grow in me, that is you moving into that next gear that will then become commonplace to you. And we don't realize that. I mean, if we really kind of took a whole look at our lives, we've never been in the same gear. Some shifts we embrace, some shifts we want, but some shifting just comes. Right. And so we have to embrace all of that. The shifts that you want to happen, like, I want this new position, or I want this new opportunity. Great. Embrace those, because that's something that you desire. But sometimes life is going to cause us, whether we like it or not, to move into another gear and to do something different and to move into another place. And when we embrace that too, we'll learn so much from that part of the journey.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Duane, you mentioned last show about our actions being in aligned with the things that we say. As you are talking about the shifting, and John just dropped the bomb on us, what do you want to say, sir?
All right. You mentioned in the beginning about how you weren't the same Thomas that graduated from high school in 1997. Yes. It makes me think about recently there was that situation that happened between the radio personality and Michael B. Jordan, when he recognized her, and she was the person who used to really talk bad about him in high school. And now look at the shifts in life. He took the high road, but it's just showing you how sometimes you always have to look at things in retrospect.
Yes.
I'm thinking about how I'm taking this on a different turn. I think each of us on the planet have God put us into certain situations or professions so we can actually heal and help people at the same time.
Right.
And I see that as an educator. And as an educator, I see a lot of times some of the childhood traumas I had, I'm able to actually help some other child not feel that way. I can actually help some child not feel awkward because they like arts. That they feel awkward because they're clumsy.
Right.
Recently I had a student, never heard her speak before, but when she spoke, her voice was very deep, and she didn't like to speak because her voice is very, very deep. She never heard of Maya Angelou. I played her what Maya Angelou sounded like, and you would have. She blossomed. She said, "Oh my gosh, her voice sounds like mine." I played her Octavia Butler. Her voice sounds like mine. I said, "Come on, you got a wonderful voice."
Right.
I think it's that aligning that you have to understand what you're currently doing, and helping others can actually heal you in the process. Actually repair some of the things that are broken within us, because you're actually seeing it, and unlike when you were going through it, you can actually be that change agent, and that actually heals you in the process of making you better and you wanting to be better to help other people.
Wow, that is okay. All right, I'm gonna stay here. Jason, Duane says something that's very key, and he's speaking about cognitions. And from a therapist standpoint, we talk about cognitive shifts. We talk about CBT, what CBT is, cognitive behavior therapy approaches, aligning your thoughts with your behaviors to produce the response that can shift our thought process. What do you have to say? Because I don't want to tell you what to say, because y'all are dropping some stuff here tonight, and I just don't want to get in the way. Talk to us.
I think what was really important about what Duane is sharing is that when we think about trauma, and I'm going to put my clinical hat on for a little bit. When we think about trauma and we think about, not having someone show up for you in the time of need, that can create a bit of a void for you.
Yes.
And if that void isn't refilled, then that void will become a crack, and that crack will just continue to kind of separate until there's brokenness internally. But when you first opened this up, you talked about a projection, and that projection was I am not who I used to be.
Right.
And a projection is important to understand from a clinical perspective.
Right.
Is that when someone says something that is negative or disingenuous towards you,
right,
most of the time that is not about who you are or how you're showing up. That is how they actually feel about themselves.
Right.
Change is so difficult for other people to witness because some people have a difficult understanding seeing themselves as worthy or able of being able to change. So when you start changing, they're like, no, this don't work. Because if you changing, that means I can change too. So they have to hold themselves accountable.
Right.
So a major part of understanding how people show up for you is understanding how they show up for themselves.
Wow.
And if you can show up for yourself well, and you can be grounded and in your skin in a comfortable way, then that allows you to do that for other people. But if you cannot, you never will, and not for yourself, or unfortunately not for others.
Y'all, we are not going off no script. We are talking from our hearts tonight. Everything that you all are saying, I literally have chill bumps over here, because what is key is embracing a new change. Embrace a change that is in place. Speak those positive things in your life. Like Duane said, there are people, and I can give you a case in point. If I'm very transparent, as I told you all last show, I never wanted to do this. Never did not. I just felt like I didn't have the tone. I didn't have the voice to do it. I was more so in my head, because of my speech impediment. Never did I want to do this.
Mhm.
But I realized that there are other people out here who have those same struggles. And if I don't model what it means to overcome your fears and your anxieties, and I'm the helping professional, then what am I doing here, period? And
Mhm.
that's a nugget that I want to drop right now is for those that are watching tonight, stop being stuck. Stop saying what you cannot do. Stop saying what you wish that you should do and just do it. John, I see you.
Only be listen because you got me going here. I mean, this. I mean, as churchy as this sounds, right? Whatever is in you has to come out,
Mm,
right? And so alignment will cause you, even when you don't want to do something,
right.
right? Even when you're fearful of the response of what people are going to think, how they're going to receive me, and all that. Whatever is in you literally is going to have to come out whether you like it or not. So it can be an easier process where you embrace it, or it can be a hard process where it's like you're always fighting it, but because it has to come out, it's gonna be there, right?
Yes. Yes.
It's going to force its way out of you,
Yes.
and it's really going to be up to you to say, okay, this is who I am. And a lot of times, you're right, we get stuck in other people's responses, and we get stuck in the fear of success, or we get stuck in the fear of actually doing something well and putting yourself out there to an extent where, like, now I'm going to be exposed, or more people are going to know parts
Yes.
about me, my story.
Yes.
They're going to actually see my passions. That is okay. Whatever is in you legitimately has to come out.
Ooh. Duane, I saw your head.
I always say this, Thomas, and I'm thinking as we're getting in alignment, the one thing we have to, and I'll say this every day, we need to show ourselves some grace. I mean, sometimes we need to forgive ourselves. As we go through our journey, we're gonna make mistakes. We're gonna make, oh gosh, we're gonna flub. That's if you're doing a professional journey, a weight
Right.
loss journey, any type of
Right.
journey, you
Right.
are going to mess up, and you
Right.
got to give yourself some grace.
Right.
And I think that is the that's the first step of
Right.
really trying to get yourself intact. And in order to move forward to something new,
Right.
is to say,
Right.
hey, I forgive myself. I know I'm a mess up,
Right.
but I know I can still go and get better.
Right. I love that. I love that. So I want to shift to you, Tanika, but before I do, this was something, and John brought up this something that resonated with me this past weekend. So I was speaking with someone this weekend, and they were telling me how they have a lot of anxieties and how they walk in the grocery store and they feel like people are watching them and are just disgusted with their presence. And the thing that I wanted and that I shared with this person was, at the end of the day, you still have to walk boldly in who you are. Because like Jason said, their issues should not attach itself to you. And I had to also understand that at the end of the day, people are not going to like you, right? They are not going to want to see you be successful. They're not going to want you, Tanika, to give scholarships to individuals. They're not going to want you, Jason, to give them an intervention to where they walked in your office and they felt defeated, but when they left your session, they felt like they could celebrate. And those people are still out there when they walk out of those environments. But we have to build our skill sets, our strength, our resiliency to be able to move forward in life. And so I want to start with this with you, Tanika, because you work with youth, you work with families and adults, and you try to get them motivated and pumped up about attending college and getting their academics and being the successful person that they are designed to be. And one of the things as we speak about alignment is how can we begin to align our mindsets with our academic goals. So can you speak on that, please?
Yeah, I think the first thing is what I always see is that students and supporters of students believe in the skill and the ability of the student, but they don't know how, they haven't seen it done. Right? So they believe in it and they support,
Right.
but the struggle is the process, the
Right.
journey to actually get there.
Right.
And so what happens is there's been this language of I believe in you, and so there's this confidence in that.
Right.
And then when someone challenges their belief or their vision, then we see, oh, there's some doubt here. There's some self-doubt here. There's some other things unraveling here. There's lack of support. There's lack of just feeling like they can do it. One of the aspects of it, especially for students who are first gen and those who are not first gen, I don't think this is a first gen conversation.
Right.
This is even for those who've already have parents who've went to school and
Right.
some who graduated and not, is I still am putting my best foot forward for my family. And
Right.
there is something about being the one to start something and feeling like you are trying to set a trajectory or a new change
Right.
that isn't talked enough about,
Right.
because there is a stress to that or an anxiety to that of I'm carrying everything on me. So you'll hear students talk about like, oh, I really want to make my parents proud, or I really want to make my family proud. That's an added stress pressure on top. And then
Right.
when I'm asking about what about yourself? How are
Right.
you making yourself proud in this moment?
Right.
Right. And knowing that your family is always going to ask those questions and be proud of you, but there seems to feel like there's a conditional to it. There's
Right.
conditional levels to it. And so
Right.
we have to remind those that you are deserving.
Mm.
Let's just start there. You are deserving to have a dream, and you are deserving to go after your dream.
Wow.
Let's
That's
start
an affirmation. Mm.
right there, right there. Because if we can't start there, where you feeling like that, then it's harder for me. I can give you all the scholarships in the world. I can give you the whole bunch of money, and you can step on campus. But if you don't feel that you are deserving of the
Right.
dream and going after your dream, it
Right.
won't go anywhere. And so I encourage everyone that's listening that you are worth it. So go after what you're worth.
Wow. Go get it. I love that. I love that. Duane, so I do want to shift it still in the same area of academics. You are a educator and you work in the education system. As we talk about alignment, we have to take ourselves in out of it, but look at it from the lens of our youth. Our youth are coming to school with so much on them. And, working in a school system myself, I realized that when I was going through life and when I was going through school, I didn't have to face so many obstacles and barriers that they have to deal with on a continuing basis. And, sometimes, and I'm going back to your quote from last show with the alignment piece, with your behaviors must align with your goals. And how do you encourage our students to be able to walk away from those not so good influences and stick to your path of going to class, getting your work done, staying after school for office hours, and doing those things so you can be successful? How do you empower our young people to make those positive decisions?
It's going to sound real simple, but I think, and in my years, I've been an educator for over 20 something years.
Shout out.
The one thing I've noticed is that if you create a safe, loving environment, children will fill in the blanks.
Mm.
So if children know that if the building that they're coming to each day will allow them to not have to worry about what's going on at home,
right,
they don't have to worry about nobody yelling at them or making them feel bad. They can get some food. They can get a hug. They can they can laugh with their friends. They can have some fun moments. And they just feel that this is a place they can come to each and every day, and they're going to feel that each and every day they get in it. That's something that's important. It's about the environment that you create for the kids. And I work with young kids, and people a lot of times don't believe that younger students have problems, but oh my goodness, they come in with a lot.
Right.
They come in. You have kids who are in third grade taking care of siblings who are
Right.
cooking meals for their siblings because mom is at work.
Right.
But you have to create an environment. You also have to teach them boundaries. And I had a kid tell me years ago, we like to be told boundaries. You might not think it, but we need it. We want you to tell us this. We don't like it sometimes, but we know that's what you got to do.
Right.
And he used to give his teachers a run for the money, but he understood that he needed that chastisement.
Right.
But I really think with children, it's the environment that you create for them. Because if they know that if they know that environment is for them, they'll do everything that they can to just appease you, to grow, to learn, and they're going to want to do better for themselves.
Right. Love that. Love that. Thank you so much. I heard you say safe spaces and safe places for our kids. All right. I'm going to give y'all a second to catch your breath. You guys have been dropping knowledge this evening. And I do want to say I am receiving a lot of text messages, questions. And, thank you so much for sending me text messages on the side. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for liking and sharing the broadcast. If you know of individuals that need to hear these words, because we're not just talking about adults tonight, as you see, we're talking about youth, young adults, families, life. We are covering a lot of different things. And so I thank you so much for you all tuning in on this evening. Before I go to the question that I received in a text message, there was a comment in the chat from Jonathan Good. And he said that it is important to align yourself with individuals who understand you, believe in you, and have good intentions for you. Let this stay up for a minute, because I think sometimes it has to marinate in our minds as we do CBT. Let's think about our cognitions. Let's think about what the word really says. It is important for us to align ourselves with individuals who get you. Let's simplify it. Who understand the flow of you, who get your inner and your outer workings, who believe in you even when you make those life lessons, who that when you do something that you know you shouldn't do, but they are still there, and who have those good intentions for you. One of the things I can tell you, and John and Jason and Duane can attest to this, Tanika, because we are part of the same thing, is when people come to you and they so quick to tell you about somebody else, they're going to do that same thing to you when you're not around. But those are people. There are people out here that have your good intent, and they have good intentions for you to say, let's call that person. If you want to ask me X, Y, and Z, let's call that person. And I experienced that, on Valentine's Day. People were making so many different assumptions about what they saw. But nobody picked up the phone and call me to ask. We're going to stop right there. All right. Right there. All right. Going into this question that was received in the text message. And the question is, great show, Thomas. You guys talk a lot about things that we should do to prepare ourselves to be in alignment. But what happens when you don't even know how to even get out of being out of alignment? I have been buried down with so much grief and loss and hurt to this is all that I know. This is my safe space. Please advise. Who want to answer that question first? Jason. And thank you so much for asking me that question.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that about yourself. The power of routine cannot be undersold. So if you are in a low mood, or if you are in a place where you are consistently dealing with struggle, one of the best ways out of that struggle is to slowly build a routine. And the purpose of a routine is to give yourself measurable, understandable goal points to move towards progress. It does not guarantee success, but it does put you on a path to better. And that routine can just be as small as waking up and doing affirmations, and the ability to stick with a routine and to show up for yourself time and time again will open up so many more possibilities for you.
Mm,
It will get you away from the place of going to low and low points when you
mm-hmm.
have idle time. It allows you the opportunity to grow new skills. So a routine is what, and it's something that like cognitively, mentally, is
Right,
so affirming. So
right.
we've seen people who kind of don't function without their morning coffee, and
Mm-hmm.
some of that is just a part of their routine. Their routine is to get up, brush teeth, close, and get themselves. And that hit of that caffeine
Right,
gets them along their way. Now, you don't have to institute coffee, but having a routine allows you the possibility of marking time and making sure that you're moving in the right direction. So I would say get a routine, embrace it, and then check back with yourself in 15 days, and then keep doing that over and over again.
love that. Thank you so much, Tanika. I am hurt. I don't know. I've gone through so many different relationships. People have hurt me. People have betrayed me, and all I know is toxic circles. What do you say to that young lady or that young man or that person, period, that feels like all they know is going into that circle of motion?
I'm gonna talk from a personal experience. I've definitely been there, more than number of times than I would like to count.
Hmm.
And I think one thing that isn't being said that I believe that I was feeling at the time was I was questioning why me.
Mm,
And so when you have a pattern of that where you have deceitfulness or betrayal or things happening continuously to you, you're starting to wonder, is it me? Like, what am I doing? And you start being internal, like internally inflicting harm on yourself at the same time. So not only is the outside beating you up, you also beat yourself up. So
mm,
what I found was that I had to literally focus on me and just reaffirming who I was repeatedly.
right.
And that is hard because a lot of us don't talk to ourselves. We don't talk to ourselves. Like we depend on other people to affirm us, right?
Yes.
We depend on other people to either confirm that we're doing well, and all of those things are good to feel loved and to feel appreciated and cherished.
Right.
But I found that I wasn't doing it to myself.
Right.
And so when I started to do that to myself, then other people started to, who were really of good intention,
Right.
started to want to align with more good intention people. So if
Mm,
you're in good intention with yourself, that light can only shine outward, where another person said, I want to align with another good intention person. And so then you start connecting with other people who are also doing self talk, who are also may have grieved or had difficult times. And now you get to heal together, but you also healed alone in a sense. A period of solidarity with yourself to be like a firm foundation, and whether that be a connection with spirituality, whether
right.
that be a connection with going back to heal some things that have experienced and being honest about what has happened and how it made me feel. Because I was also operating a sense of like, man, that's fine. I'm good. And trying to like just act like
Right.
nothing was
Right.
wrong. You got to
Right.
be honest. Like this hurts.
Mhm.
You have to be honest about your feelings. This hurts. And I have to be able to say that and also love myself in those moments at the same time.
Woo. Woo. Uh, John, I'm gonna come to you right quick, but
Mhm.
before I do, I want to use this analogy because we want to make this very open for people that are watching tonight, and the views are coming up. So thank you all for sharing this. Justin said the way you get back on track is to acknowledge, accept, and find your way to what makes you happy. Powerful words, Justin. Thank you so much for sharing that. What I want to say is this: how many of you all drink milk, whether it's skim milk, lactose intolerant milk, whatever? we go to the grocery store and we get milk, right? And we get eggs, or you get anything that is a perishable food item. But what do we pay attention when we get that food item? It's the what? Expiration date.
That's right. That's right.
Sometimes our listening audience, things have to expire, expire in our lives in order for us to see something different. And as oh my God, when you said real talk and that positive talk, as that milk began to get closer to the expiration date, you got to do what? Either drink it fast or do what? Get rid of it. If we can get rid of things that we can no longer use, why can't we do those same things within our lives? And so, to my listening audience that's listening, don't allow those expiration dates to keep you stuck. Get that strength. Get that person that has good intentions. As Good said, connect yourself with someone that could build you up, because life is about building each other up. No one can get through life by themselves. No one can do that. John, talk to us, sir.
Well, I mean, just based off of what you said, I want people to also remember when things expire, when their expiration dates come and go, right? What happens to milk? When you open it up and it's past its expiration date, it's spoiled. It smells. If you try to drink it, you're going to get sick, right? And so these things that we let continue, right, beyond the expiration date are going to get us. They can get us thrown off our game. They can take us to places that we don't want to go to. They can literally make us sick.
Yes.
And I do want us to remember, like, that seasons are a thing for a reason, right? And allowing things to pass on. You gotta know the difference. We've heard people say it all the time, right? There, to everything there is a time in the season. We've heard some people for short seasons, some people are for a lifetime. You've got to remember, if we allow these things to fester, or we allow things to go past their expiration date in our lives, it's going to be, again, more difficult to help us get to that next thing. I also just wanted to go back really quickly about the kind of what to do, as you're grieving. I all the advice, I love what was given, love what was said, and I think it's important to remember that the grief process is just that, a process. Right? You can't you cannot time it. You can't necessarily say, okay, in 6 months, I ought to be over this. There are days. I have two very, very close friends of mine who died in literally the past, one passed away a few years ago, and one passed away at this point almost 10 years ago. And there are times where I feel the grief just come. Right, because of the memories of them and the fact that they're no longer here. Something happens, I want to pick up the phone and call them, but I can't anymore. You have to allow yourself that opportunity to grieve, right? Whether it's loss of a friend, loss of a situation, moving on from one thing to the next. We know that grief is not always attached to a person or a relationship, right? But we have to give ourselves that space to grieve. And like was said, start to build that routine. What are the things that bring me joy? What are the things that help me to start to feel like myself again? Let me focus on those things, right? Still allowing myself the space that I need and the time that I need to grieve, but don't rush the process. I will always say that to folks. Do not rush the process. Let it be the process, because the process will work itself out. It really will.
Thank you. And that's what this is about. Rashawn, what's up, my good brother? He says this topic is necessary. Alignment and prioritization of our capacity is important. Thank you for this. And thank you so much, good brother, for sharing your comments. And Wesley Johnson says, Necessary Endings by Dr. Henry Cloud is a great book about the things that expire in your life. And I agree. That is a great resource. You all are dropping so much knowledge. Thank you to our listening audience again for dropping comments. Duane, I'm going to come to you. But before I do, one of the things that John just said that I want to piggyback on is this. Your grief process is your grief process. How you grieve is not how everyone else grieves. So don't let no one tell you how you should grieve. That's the problem, that we have in a lot of times, that people try to tell us what to do because they did it and it was successful for them. But what was successful for them may not be successful for you. Duane, talk to us, brother.
You talked about how we can move away. And that's right, Thomas?
Yes.
I think the one thing is sometimes to move away, we have to have courage. And sometimes we're lacking that courage. Sometimes we don't have enough of it and that's how sometimes we get stuck in situations and stuck with expired people, because it's that fear. It's that fear that traps us. And fear is a dangerous thing. It's a dangerous thing.
Yes.
And so sometimes, what was it? I was looking at a quote, and this is a good quote. And it's Joyce Myers. She said, "Courage is fear that has said its prayers and decided to go forward anyway." So how are we going to go forward? That's the question that many people are going to ask. How am I going to go forward? You telling me to get courage and move forward. There's something that you want for yourself.
Right.
There's something that we all want for ourselves.
Right.
And be it a bit of happiness, be it it's a better job, be it that we want out of a bad situation, that right there can give us the courage to move forward. Baby steps. Nothing is going to happen overnight. But something, we just need to really reflect inside of ourselves about what we want and taking that and making that the foundation of moving forward.
Wow. Jason, I'm going to talk to you, brother. I'm going to talk to you. There was a quote that Dr. King said about fear. The best way to face fear is what? Always going through it. Sometimes in order to overcome it, we got to go through it so we can build that resiliency to be able to face that next obstacle. So as you are dealing with clients and as you are supporting the clientele that you support, how do you help that client face those fears? And why is it important for us as helping professionals to push through and say to the client, you got this?
I think one of the more important lessons that I share with each and every one of my clients is that as you are moving towards the better version of yourself, you're going to create space. And that space is going to be for the things that you enjoy, the things that you wanted. And some of those things are going to be unexpected benefits as well.
Right.
So I think, we can get connected in this idea that if I let go of something, even if it's a bad thing, then it's gone. But it's gone for more space, more time, more opportunity.
Right.
So if you get connected in your fear of loss, then understand that the other side of your fear of loss is really your fear of gaining, your fear of growing and developing. So as Duane shared, fear is real, bravery is needed, but the belief that you have in yourself, in your capacity to be better, at some point has to outweigh your fear of staying the same. And if you can lean into that just a little bit, I think the great things are really possible for us.
Wow. Thank you so much. Tanika, I just want to say we've known each other from church days, church years, and just to see where you have grown and where you are going, your possibilities are definitely limitless. And it's not because this is limitless. I've seen you go to those higher heights. And something that has kept you from doing that is realizing what your end goal is. And as we close out this part 2, I want to just give you the opportunity to share whatever it is that is on your heart to someone that is listening that is feeling out of a line. what are some of the things that you would love to share with our listening audience? And I appreciate you so much again for being on part 2. Thank you so much.
Sure. And thanks everyone. This has been beyond fruitful. It has been something has planted a seed that's going to continue to grow. That's what I fully believe. So thanks for everybody for tuning in. One of the things I would like to share with everyone is alignment to me is just focused attention. And it's also focused action, right? So what are you putting your focus on? And then what are you focusing your action towards? What are the steps that you're making towards that attention? Focus is the biggest part, right? We can get disfocused very easily from outside things to inside things, but always, as our good friend said, allow yourself grace through focus. Don't beat yourself up when you get out of focus. You're never going to be out of time. Okay. So a lot of people feel like, okay, I didn't do it, so I must have missed my opportunity, my phase, my section. But know that you're not, right? If it's for you, it will be for you. And it will be in your timing. A lot of people say somebody else will see it, but it's not you. And just like our good friend John said, that it has to come out of you.
Wow.
So I would leave that with everyone here. Really focus on what is it that your world, your life, your energy is saying that you want for yourself, and how are you going to focus attention and focus action on those things to move you forward throughout 2023 and beyond. And when you start there, I think you'll identify some things that might be surprising to you, and also some things that are very like, I said it, it's out now, right? And now let's make the moves to go forward. So thank you all for letting me be on, and just go for it.
Thank you. You will be back. You'll be back. John, real quickly, tell us what you would like for our viewing audience to hear.
I mean, I think, and I know that Will Smith was not the first person to say this, but I think I heard it last from him in a video that I was watching. And it goes back to what you're talking about fear. The best things in life are on the other side of fear, right? And when we allow ourselves to push through and to get past fear, not let fear hinder us, it may always be there.
Right.
You may always have this, what I call a healthy sense of fear about doing something. But once you're able to do it, you're going to open up yourself to so many other literally limited possibilities, right? Of what can come. And you'll see some of the things that you didn't know that you were made of, that you are made of. And the strength, the true strength that you have. And so I believe that with folks. And I think as long as we start to or continue to think on that, literally there are limitless possibilities to what we can do. And really that helps us to be who we're supposed to be on this earth.
Thank you so much. Jason, talk to us real quickly.
It grows where you water, and what you water it with is important. So if you water it with positivity, if you water it with affirmation, then that's just going to it's going to elevate what you're growing. If you're growing it with doubt, if you're growing it with fear, those same results will apply. So it grows where you water, and it matters what you water it with.
Duane, talk to us. Oh my goodness, y'all are killing
it. That's very hard. I think the best thing is for everyone to just take a moment to just calm down. Loosen up your shoulders, unclench your teeth, breathe in, breathe out, relax. Understand, it's not going the way you might want to go, but it will get there. You just got to persevere. Understand that you do have a purpose. People do care about you. You are loved. And if nobody told you that they loved you today, I'll tell you, I don't know many of you who are watching, but I love you because you are worthy of love. And that is people who know that people care about them, have their back, they can move forward and be the best version of themselves.
Wow. Thank you so much. Can we give a round of applause to our panelists that was on tonight? And as I close out this part 2, I want to leave you with this. As we align and as we continue to grow, glow, relearn, unlearn, I want us to do this. ALIGN. Accept, live, be intentional, grow, and embrace new. That is how we can align ourselves. We have to align ourselves with where we want to go, accept those things that we cannot change. Live life, embrace life, grow, be better, and embrace the new. New opportunities are before you. Trust me, I am a living witness. You can get what you desire to do and be, whether it's a family, whether it's children, whether it's a new job, a new position, new friendships, new environments. You can get exactly what you want. You just have to do what? Align. Thank you so much for tuning in on a Sunday night. We hope that you got something from this particular show. Continue to support us. Continue to follow us on all of our Limitless platforms. And understand that you have the opportunity to be better than the day, the second, or the minute before. And as Duane says, if no one has told you recently, I love you, we love you, and catch us for our next show of Move Mountains and Break Barriers. Thank you all for the comments. Yes, I do agree. Great discussion. Thank you to our panelists, and we will see you next time. Take care.
Limitless. My heart vast in blackness, defined by our past, persevere through the obstacles, pain and our laughter, but let me get back to what matters. Cap up my brother, no reason to clap him. Uplift my kinfolk, we shooting for Saturn. No one left behind when we climbing this ladder. My skin and the joy make them 1% matter. That's fact that the matter. Open your eyes when you look at the mirror and see what I see. Feel all the power that lies within thee. Black kings and queens who we will and shall be. Know that we bleed and breathe royalty. Love with the loyalty glow got me loving myself. Black skin my cover is hugging myself. Live for the mental and spiritual, but remember we limitless. DNA royal, not menaces. Know that we limitless. Brothers and sisters in arms, know the power be